All right, you got me?
Oh, there you are.
All right, well, let
Let's
me.
hang up this phone and we'll get through on the video.
Perfect.
Awesome. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm glad to have you here. The only thing that we haven't tried out so far, since this is Google Hangouts, this is actually my first time going this route with it. I know I can screen share on my end, but I'm not sure if you can screen share on your end. Um,
It looks like I can. Can you
oh,
see
look
that?
at that! I can see it. That's
Perfect.
awesome. That's awesome. That is
Beautiful.
awesome. So what I just did here for everyone is I made your screen the center of attention, and you.
Okay.
I'd like you to just take a minute here and introduce yourself, give a little bit about Service Fusion and what the company is about and who you guys serve best.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I appreciate the invite, Tom. I appreciate the invite to the Facebook group as well. So yeah, my name's Jeremy with Service Fusion. Really, my role here today is to just kind of facilitate this relationship, support your group however we can. What we do at Service Fusion is we work with anybody that's sending techs out in the field. So we work with field service management companies, and our goal really is to help you streamline things. So anything that we can do to make your processes more efficient, from scheduling, dispatching, reminders to customers, to making sure that they don't miss appointments with you guys. We have QuickBooks integration, so really it's just a one-stop shop to make contractors' lives more simple. So we've been around a little bit about the history of our company. We've been around for about 4 years, work with over 2,700 different contractors, different businesses that use our software. And really what we do, we pride ourselves on being a company that makes sure we have to earn your business every month. We don't do contracts. We don't do setup fees. We don't do per user fees. So all of our pricing is unlimited users. And we structured our business in terms of support and pricing really to focus on small to mid-sized businesses. So contractors with anywhere from a single owner operator shop, one user, up to 35 to 50 is kind of our cap. So we're not going after large companies. We're not looking at enterprise. We're really looking to help the individual, the contractor, the smaller guy.
That's awesome. And honestly, that's one of the reasons when I was doing my research
Oh,
and vetting, because I looked for several different solutions before that I decided for my company to go forward with you guys.
yeah,
And one of the biggest headaches was that a lot of these companies that had all of the tools and features that you guys had built into the software were more for a mid to an enterprise style size company. And not only was there an incredible setup fee, the monthly fee was very large, and on top of that, they wanted to charge you per user. So
right.
here you go, as your team grows and scales, so your costs are going up too. Granted, I know you're going to make more money and all, but that's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you're a smaller operation and you're figuring out, how do I maximize my cash flow every month?
Right. And the way we kind of look at that, once you're trained, your admin users are trained. When you bring on a new technician or add a new truck, we're there to train you if you want us to. We offer unlimited support, but most of the time you're handling the training on your own. So literally, in most cases, it costs us nothing for you to add an additional user. So it just didn't make a lot of sense when we thought about it.
Yeah, I agree, and it's been very helpful for us when we onboard a new technician, or even on the occasion when we do use a subcontractor. We'll just add that person right into the solution, and it makes the life of my scheduling team. It makes their day much easier because they can see everything listed out real nice within the schedule, and like, oh, you know what? Just put it under this guy today, and we'll set him aside for this time. Um, and it's something. Listen, I wouldn't have you here if I didn't believe in the product and the
Right.
company itself. Um, it was one of the coolest things for us was I was doing a lot of what Service Fusion does inside of my sales and marketing CRM,
Yeah.
which is not what that platform is really built for.
No. No.
Okay,
I
so
use one every day. I'm knee deep in it. I can't imagine actually sending people out in the field based on that.
yeah, so here's our CRM, and we actually went in the back end. Luckily, it's a very very powerful tool. We use Infusionsoft in-house, and we were able to build out campaigns to automate a lot of the workflow, automate the reminders going out to the customers. The problem is, it didn't have a lot of the extra goodies built in. For instance, we use and rely heavily on the text message feature as far as reminders are concerned. So,
Right.
with Infusionsoft, that's an additional add-on. So it was this add-on, it was that add-on, and before you know it, the $300 a month software now turns into the $400, $500, $600 a month software to do all these extra things you wanted to do in order to make your business run. And it
Right.
got to the point where, like, wow, this is tough. The amount of training that we had to put our staff through when they onboarded with us to use this stuff properly was ridiculous. And it was just
Yeah.
an ongoing uphill battle. And we said, there's got to be a better way. And we went out there, we demoed, I'd say 15 other providers. And my team, along with myself, made the decision. We actually went with a competitor of yours first, and it was a complete waste of 3 months.
Yeah.
I really wish that we would have just gone with you guys from the get-go. But unfortunately, I mean, just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
But when we did move forward with Service Fusion, the implementation portion of it was, I don't want to say it was simple, but it was much easier than any of the stuff that we had built internally within our CRM system, which is super advanced.
Right.
And I'd say it took a good 3 weeks for us to take all the data that we had, move it over into Service Fusion, and then build out the reminders, build out the structure of how we were going to use a system that best fit our business. And
Right.
Service Fusion was very flexible and allowing us, and I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying the software itself was flexible enough to allow us to build in what we needed.
Sure.
And I'm also a firm believer that, when it comes to software, you're not going to use 100% of it.
No. No.
I don't even think we're using 70% of what Service Fusion offers, but I'm okay with that because I know that my business can grow into it if need be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're touching on a lot of things. How long have you been a customer, Service Fusion?
So
Within the
we're
last
just
year?
about a year. Just about a year.
Yeah. Yeah, so just to give you some updates, we're always changing on how we offer support and how we bring customers on. So a little over a year ago, about 14, 15 months ago, we brought on, really built out an onboarding team. So to where it used to be, hey, you became a customer, here's a training library, here's your support number if you need help. We've got a team dedicated as a customer success manager, and you guys were probably one of the first customers that had a chance to work with a dedicated customer success manager when you first started off, maybe maybe and a couple other people. But what we do now is when you get started, you're going to be assigned a customer success manager. That person works with you during your first 60 days to work with you on QuickBooks integration, getting your data in the system, to train you and your team. So, and that's all included at no additional cost, where a lot of companies are going to charge you X amount to do that. We said, hey, we're going to do this anyways, because if we can get you up and running within 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to love the software and you're going to be successful.
Awesome. Yeah, we had a customer success manager helping us the first. I think we had 3 or 4 phone calls with that person, and then finally it got to the point where, like, yeah, we got this. We're good. I don't want to waste any more of your time. We're just going to kick off and get running, and that's what we did.
Yeah, most of the time after the first 4 weeks, they send you a couple emails and you ignore it because you just don't need to talk to them. But we're here for you. So you've got that onboarding support. It's unlimited support going forward. So we don't do any restrictions. There's no bucket of minutes for support or any of that. Really, in terms of our pricing, very simple. And we'll touch on it later just to kind of give everybody an overview of what pricing looks like. But it's one of the most affordable and I think the highest value that you can get in terms of this field.
Awesome. Well, listen, let's not hold back any further. Let's flip over to your screen there, if you could, and show us the ins and the outs of the system.
Perfect. So you have my screen okay here?
Yeah, I see it great.
Okay, fantastic. So what I want to do for you guys is just give you a high-level overview of Service Fusion and what we can do for you. So with our system, it's built primarily of 2 main components. So you've got your back office or your admin system, which is what we're looking at here. So this is where you've got company dashboards, which, over the course of last year, you probably saw this pop up, Tom. This is something we added, I think, about 4 months ago. We've got the ability to create jobs, a drag and drop dispatch screen that we'll get into. But the second component of our system is the field worker application. So we've got an app that your technicians will download. It's available via iTunes App Store. So if you got Apple devices, you're good. It's available on Android. It can be used on tablets if you want to, but there's nothing wrong with getting a phone, downloading it, and rolling with the application. So there's no need to go buy tablets if you don't want to use them. Now, what we'll do, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a demo. So what I want to show you in terms of the demo process goes, I want to show you what it looks like to create a job, what your options are in terms of dispatching that, and I'll touch on some of the reminders on how you can set up automatic text messages and reminders for your customers. And then we'll go ahead, get that job assigned, and we'll look at it from the technician's point of view as well. So to create a job in Service Fusion, you've got a couple options. The first thing we do for you, though, when you become a customer, if you're using QuickBooks or if you've got your data in another system, is we want to get your data over. So if a customer reaches out and calls you, you'll be able to search for customers in our system by name, address, or phone number. We like to get your data into the system within 72 hours because you're more likely to start taking calls if it's in there. So if a customer calls in, you can go in and you can type, let's say, we've got Mick Jagger giving us a call. He's actually a sub to ABC company, but we can go ahead and pull up his profile. If that customer is not already in your system, you can create your customer's profile right from the job creation screen. There's no reason to go in and say, hey, I need to create a new customer, come back to the job creation screen and then create it. You punch in your new customer information right here. Once you save the job, it creates that customer. Now, your other option for that initial job creation, you can also start on your dispatch screen. So you've got a daily or a weekly view here. If a customer calls and says, hey, I've got an emergency, can you get out this afternoon? You can simply go to your dispatch screen and say, hey, Henry's free today. You can right click on a day or time and say, hey, I need to create a job. It's going to pull up a blank work order for you. Your technician, your date, and your time will already be filled out. So all you need to do is get them the details and hit save. Now, in terms of the details of the job, you can go in and you can build one-off jobs. So you can go in and type a detailed description if you need to. You've got as much room as you need to let everybody know what's going on with this work order. Or you can create jobs from templates. So templates are going to allow you to, hey, if you're going out and doing a, pretty simple, you've got 5 vehicles that need to get done, 3-wire install, you can have your 3-wire install template set up and just change the quantity. For this example, I've got a lot of, mechanical kind of templates set up. So, in this situation, I'm going to say, hey, we're going to go out and do some sort of system inspection. So I can go in and select my heating system inspection template. It can pre-populate my job description. It can create a task list of the different components we're going to check for, or maybe if this is an install of the different steps you need to do to properly install and test the piece of equipment that you've installed. And then at the bottom, I've even got charges associated with this. So if I'm going to charge a flat rate of maybe $99 per unit that I'm going to install, I could go in before I even send it to my technician and say, hey, we're going to install 5 units at $99 each.
Right.
Now, you do have the ability to customize your work orders a bit too, and I think you had kind of alluded to this in terms of the flexibility of our software. So we have the ability for you guys to create additional custom fields. So if there's information that we do not account for in the system that you'd like to have so your technicians can maybe ask these questions or gather this info, you can create additional custom fields here. Those can be drop-down menus, text or numeric input fields, really anything you need here, and you can have as many as you like. One other section or segment to this is you can have additional sets of custom fields based on job category. So for an install, you may want to collect 5 different pieces of information we don't account for, but maybe for a service call, when you select that category, you just need to collect 3 pieces of information. So those custom fields really give you a lot of flexibility when combined with your job categories to track what's important to you guys. Now, Tom, do you guys use the recurring job function often? Do you do maintenance quite a bit, or are you guys primarily doing installs?
No, we're usually doing one-off tickets when we create job in Service Fusion here. But
okay, perfect.
I could see it being a very useful feature if someone within this group has a recurring customer that they go to. Maybe you have a monthly contract like you were just alluding to, where hey, every 3rd Wednesday of the month, a technician shows up and he checks out 5 vehicles.
Perfect. So we do have the ability to handle those if you guys have them. So you can, if you see over here on the left side, service agreements, you can have service agreements. You can track whatever you need to their expiration dates. But when it comes to the job, let's say we're going to go out today and service this customer, and we need to go out, to your point, every 3rd Wednesday. I can go in, select Wednesday, and we're going to repeat every 3rd week, basically. You need to do it monthly or semi-monthly, maybe annually. You can do that. You can set up jobs to repeat on whatever reoccurrence you need to and have them repeat indefinitely. You can have them stop after a certain number of dates if you have a specific contract or occurrences, or expire on a certain date. That way you could go in and update that once maybe you renewed a contract.
Yeah, that's super powerful because, if you have a customer where you have to go out, once a month, once every 3 months, I mean, like everybody else in today's day and age, you get overwhelmed, and if you don't write it down or put it into a piece of software like this, you're going to forget. You can only just retain so much information. And
Right.
the beauty of this also, that tied into the automated reminders that Service Fusion can send out, is also going to remind your customer automatically prior to you showing up to that job.
Absolutely. So yeah, to touch on that, that's actually where I was going to jump to next. We have the ability for you to set custom reminders for each job, but yeah, as you may know, you also have the ability to set universal default reminders. So you can tell the system that, hey, every time I create a job, I'm not concerned with what kind of job it is or what we're doing. I want to remind the customer via text message the night before, via an email the night before. I want to also remind them via email the morning of. So you can set up as many reminders for each job as you like. Again, those can be universal, applied to every job. You can also insert presets, so you can have for an install, for a specific customer, you can create a preset that says, hey, they need an extra reminder, so I'm going to remind them a week before, the night before, the morning of. So you can group together reminders and have presets that you can easily attach to jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a little bit, in terms of that in depth, when you become a Service Fusion customer, we assign a phone number, or you select a phone number and register it to your Service Fusion system. We'll be able to mask that with your office number. So if a customer gets a phone call, you can record your own message, or you can just type one out and the system will read it off. If they respond to that, they're going to see your office number on their caller ID. The text messages will come from that new phone number, but in the message, best practice is to put your office line in. So if they need to call, they can, click the number and they can call you through it. But any text message responses will be funneled into Service Fusion for you to be able to have access to.
So let me touch on this for a minute here and interrupt you.
Yeah.
That is a killer feature. So we send out automated text reminders to each of our customers that allow us to. And basically what happens is, you guys added a feature a couple of months back that allow you to forward those text replies.
Yeah.
So at first, when we first signed on board, all these messages were coming up here into the bubble up top that you can see in the top right of the screen. And what we wound up doing was we used the rules here, and Monday through Friday, we forwarded those text messages out to my office staff who works Monday through Friday. And on weekends, we send those text messages to basically whoever's on call, as far as the office is concerned. Sometimes they go to me, sometimes they go to my business partner, other times they go to our lead technician. But what this does is, even if you're not in front of the computer, you're not in front of the software, that text message is going to be forwarded. Usually the way we do it is go right to our personal cell phones. That way the thing's always with you. If a customer is trying to get back to you, I can't tell you how many times it saved us from going to a job site that was scheduled and the customer cancels last minute.
Yeah. A big part of that too is we not only set up those reminders that are automatic, but through the Fieldworker app, which we'll look at in a second, when your technicians update their status to on the way, so they pull it out, they see, hey, I'm going to this next job before they get directions, they'll update their status to on the way. It's going to fire off another text message letting the customer know you're en route, and that's probably where you get a lot of those cancellations, those last minute cancellations. They respond to that.
Correct. So we get it. The most times that we get the responses from the customers are the morning of. We have an automated text message that sends out, and we also have a text message that goes out when the field worker switches the status of the job to en route or on the way. Once that is done, the point of contact receives another message, and between those two, it's literally saved us thousands of hours in no shows.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And that's really why we set it up. And yeah, those rules that we added, I think it was about 3-4 months back, have been phenomenal. We've gotten so much positive feedback on that, because not only that, you may have businesses where you've got partners and people just want to keep an eye on everything. You can have as many forwarding phone numbers as you need to. Again, you get a response from a customer really saying anything. It's going to come back to whatever phone you want to forward that to. Yeah, great call out. Perfect. So what I'll do, I think we covered the job creation pretty well. So I want to touch on scheduling real quick and then jump over to the dispatch screen. So the field worker application. So what I want to do here, I'm just going to save this job. Now, if you notice, I haven't scheduled this. So I don't have a start date assigned. I don't have a technician assigned either. And to show you here, in a lot of systems, if you've got a calendar, you're using Gmail or Google Calendar to do jobs, you start, creating a calendar appointment, but don't track all the information or don't save it. It's going to disappear. It's going to go nowhere. In our system, if you create a job and don't schedule it, and you can see I purposely put my status as dispatched, which would typically mean that I have technicians assigned. I did that on purpose because it's not going to go anywhere. What's going to happen is this job's going to funnel down here to the bottom of my dispatch screen to an unscheduled folder. So any job that I have that's created that doesn't have a technician assigned or a date and time is going to be under my unscheduled folder. And then we also have an unassigned folder. Unassigned would be, hey, I've got a date and time that I need to do this job, but I don't have a tech. So if you know that you've got to get out there and do a job today at 1 o'clock, it'd be sitting here and you can drag it and drop it to whoever needs to work that job.
Awesome.
So in this example, we've got our unscheduled job. We need to get it assigned. We drag and drop it to our technician. He now has access to this job on his mobile application. If you have technicians and you really want to poke them to make sure they see it, you can even double click on that job, hit dispatch, and it'll fire off a text message to that technician, letting them know, hey, you got a new job. Here's the details. Which you've got the address in here, so they could use that to navigate it to. But more importantly, they know that, hey, I need to pull up my app and I need to see what's going on.
Yep. That's awesome.
Now, in terms of the, oh, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Sorry, could you just click on the weekly view for a second?
Yeah, definitely.
This was a huge thing for us when we actually moved forward with you guys. So this is the actual view that we use in our scheduling, because it allows our installation coordinators to very quickly see who is free and at what time. Because usually we're scheduling out about a week in advance. And this right here was, I would say, 90% of the reason that we actually moved forward with Service Fusion, this little feature, just so you know.
Awesome. Yeah, we like it quite a bit. It's very simple, drag and drop system. So if a technician, let's say somebody calls in sick at the last minute, you can very easily, instead of going through manually, calling people, figuring out who's available, you take this job and you drag it and you assign it to a different tech or maybe on a different day. So very simple to do that. Your other option here is we've got quite a few filters. So the first thing you'll notice is we've got a lot of different colors here. Blue in my system means the job is scheduled. Green means it's completed. Yellow maybe means it's an estimate or in progress. Status is 100% customizable by the user, and each status represents its own color. So you'll be able to customize what those colors mean. So your system may look completely different than everybody else's, but what's important is when you glance at your dispatch screen, you can see that all your jobs on Monday are completed, or you still have a couple that are hanging open.
Yep.
Now, for people that maybe work in different geographical areas, you guys that have maybe contractors in different parts of maybe the country or the state that you work, if you have guys that work in certain areas, you can group technicians together as well. So let's say you had people, we're in DFW here, that work South Dallas typically. You would be able to go in here and you'd say, hey, I'm going to look at my South Dallas crew. When you apply that filter, it's going to only allow you to see those guys. So this is nice because technicians can be part of multiple groups, but it really allows you to maybe filter guys by certification or geographic location, but mainly pay attention to who it is that you need to work with. Now, the last component to our dispatch system here is our dispatch map. With our dispatch map, this tracks them through the mobile application, so you don't have to do any vehicle tracking or anything here. They download the app, it tracks them. This gives you 5-minute update intervals, or it'll update anytime they update their status on a job. Now, this is just a live feed. You're not going to get the breadcrumb trail like a lot of the equipment that you guys install on this view. But what this is going to do, it does tag their location anytime they update status on a job or clock in or out. So a great thing to accompany your scheduling. All right, so we've gotten our job created and scheduled to our technicians. So now I want to pull up the fieldworker app and just briefly show you how those guys would be able to knock the job out when they're out in the field. So again, this is what the field app would look like. It gives you options for your guys to clock in and clock out from here in terms of, hey, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, just a general time punch, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But under the My Work tab, this is where they'll do the majority of their work. So they're going to see their schedule for the day. Their jobs will be listed in order of arrival time, so we try to keep this simple. Once they complete a job, it clears out of this view and they'll no longer see it. You can allow them to have access to past jobs, or you can close them out of that section of the system as well. So to get started on a job, we'll just open it up. First thing we'll see is this big dispatch button. This is how we'll update our status on a job. If I click this, update my status to on the way, this is what we were talking about earlier, Tom. So everybody knows this is what will trigger that on the way notification to your customers. So whoever the contact is for this job just received a text message saying, hey, this is Tom with Top Class Installations. Want to let you know technician's on the way, or I'm on the way. You can use tags in the system to get specific with the text name, or you could just have a general text message come out. Now, this also starts a drive time clock. If you guys want to track drive time, they can do that. And then once your technician arrives on site, they'll update their status to started. This checks them into the work order, so it'll start a labor clock. So if you want to track time per job, we do that through statuses as well. The started status starts the clock. The completed status stops the clock. Now, to touch on this briefly, the info tab will show us customer information, so you can see work history if you needed to whenever you pull up this customer info, so you'll be able to see jobs that were done in the past. Now, all of these permissions, for the most part, are customizable, so if you don't want tech seeing that information, you can turn it off. If you don't want tech seeing pricing, you can turn that off as well.
Mm-hmm.
The map button, this is just going to give us turn-by-turn driving directions. One thing our contractors really like about this is you click on it, get driving directions. It's going to ask you, do you want to use Apple Maps? Do you want to use Google Maps? You can even use Waze, and then it sets it as the default. So we're not recreating GPS tracking or mapping software. We're just going to use the experts there.
Yep, I agree. My guys love that feature because we have some guys who swear by Waze and other guys who swear by Google Maps. So that was
yeah,
that
probably
was a nice
nobody
feature right there.
Yeah, probably nobody that swears by Apple Maps. I think it's
No.
the biggest reason we started using it. We did that is it would default to Apple, and everybody was like, "Why can't I use Google?"
Right.
Now, in terms of, hey, you want to monitor what you guys do, you want to get before and after photos, things of that nature, we do allow that. Take as many pictures as you need to. The guys will simply open their photo tab, hit add new. This will allow them to take new pictures right from their camera or attach pictures from their gallery. But if they need to get pictures of the install once it's done, this is a great place to do it. It'll be saved to this job record. So if you ever need to pull that up in the future, you can do that. If you ever need to send it to the customer or part of your email templates when you send off an invoice or a completed work order to the customer, you can automatically have those pictures attached. So they'll not only get their completed work order with the job details, they're going to get basically attachments with pictures of those completed the installation, so they know it's finished. Might be great in a situation where you're working with a company that's contracted you out to do work, maybe remotely as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we scroll down here, this is just our general work order details. So we've got our service location, we've got our job description that we could get into. We talked a little bit about the customization of the system and the custom fields. So this formats this very simply. So again, these are user-created fields. So you guys have set these fields up to say, hey, I want to know if the homeowner was there. It's a drop-down menu. The idea here is if there's information you need to track, you're going to be able to do it, but also to be able to put it in a format that's simple for your guys to fill out. So instead of having to type in a bunch of information, if there's a couple options they can select from, I think they're more likely to get you that information if they don't have to go in and type it.
Yep.
Now, if we scroll down here, down at the bottom, we're going to see that task list. So again, if we're doing an install or maybe an inspection, we'll be able to go through and check these items off as we go to make sure that everything is getting covered. And then there are two places for notes, a completion notes tab that's going to show you that will be available to the customer. So these are customer facing notes, summary of what was done typically. And then we've got a notes field here where you can attach notes to. These would be timestamped with the date and the time, as well as the author of who added those. But these are going to be private notes internally for you guys, so your customer won't see those.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a documents folder, so if you want to attach installation instructions before your guys go out, you can do that. They'd be able to download any type of PDF right from here to their device, and they'd be able to view that out in the field. And then under the invoice tab, this is where you'll be able to update charges, view charges, edit charges, add additional products and services, and create invoices. So this is where it varies a lot from customer to customer, and this is where you have a lot of permissions. So right now, my technician, he can see rates, he can adjust rates, he can add products, he can take payments, he can do everything. You can literally go through with each one of those components and say, I want them to see rates, I don't want them to adjust rates, and I don't want them to create an invoice. You can go in and say, I don't want them to see rates, I don't want them to create invoices, but I want them to be able to add products. So if you want to track inventory or maybe manage inventory control. Your other option is to go in and say, they don't have access to this section at all. I want that invoice button to disappear because I just want them going out and doing the work, and I want to be able to see when it's done. Now, to give you just a quick overview of that, we can pull a product and items catalog over from QuickBooks. You can import a catalog via a spreadsheet, but when you do that, you can have categories and subcategories, pictures associated with those items, and if they need to attach anything to a ticket, they simply can select that item, update the quantity. If you allow them to, they can update the rate and even select which truck they're pulling it off of, and you can set a default truck for each technician. So anytime Tony, my tech here, sells anything, it's going to pull it off of install truck 1. Now, once that job's completed, we'll go in, update our status to completed. This would allow us to invoice the customer right out in the field. So if we needed to take payment, we can go ahead and go down to the bottom and say, hey, we need to finalize this invoice. We can take that payment right out in the field, cash, check, or credit card. Everything's going to push over to QuickBooks. If you have your QuickBooks integration, in terms of that invoice being created would push over and that payment being taken would push over. Do you guys take payments out in the field, Tom?
No, we don't.
Perfect. So in that situation, if you're not going to take payments out in the field, once you complete that job, this is where the technician's done. He's just going to go back, and this job would clear out of his current folder and go into his completed folder, and you guys in the office would take over and be able to send that invoice to the customer.
Yeah, that's exactly how it operates, with our current setup. And
Yeah.
It works well. As the technician, like you said, as the technician progresses throughout his day, the jobs remove themselves off of his application, and the clutter clears up, and it's a lot easier for them to see exactly what's next and what's going on.
Yeah, and if you've got a guy that is working fast, or maybe a job gets canceled and they want to see maybe if they can go get something knocked out for tomorrow, you can allow them to see future jobs. So you can't allow them, if they clear up their schedule for the day too early, to go see those future jobs. But again, that's up to you. Now, one last thing on the field app, just want to show you guys, you do have the ability to grab pre and post work signatures. This follows the same permissions. So if your technicians can't see rates, they're not going to show up here either. And then this message is completely customizable. So you can put whatever verbiage you need in here. Customer can sign off on it and save it, and that'll be available for you guys in the office as well.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So I'm going to jump back over to the back office system. You can see already, since we've been doing this job and I marked it completed, that the color of this job has changed over to green. The dispatch screen in our system updates every 60 seconds automatically, so you don't have to do anything to refresh that system. Now, in terms of that work order that we completed, if we do pull this one up and refresh this screen, we'll be able to see that the job was completed. We can scroll down and see what we're charging the customer. Again, our technician didn't have access to that, but under the drive and labor times, I can see that we clocked in 11:42. We clocked out at 11:46. The system, you can set up labor rates for your technician, so it'll automatically track job cost as well. But in terms of creating invoices, very simple. Jobs created, you say, hey, we need to go ahead and invoice this customer. It will create the invoice in Service Fusion, push it over to QuickBooks for you, so you could then go in, send that out to the customer. You can send emails with links for them to go ahead and pay online if you want to. Anytime you create an invoice in our system, it's going to push over to QuickBooks. Anytime you take a payment, it's going to push over there as well. And so you kind of want to pause here real quick for you, Tom. I know we're running kind of long probably. I've got some details that we can get into in terms of invoicing and taking payments in QuickBooks, but that also may be better off handled in one-on-one conversations, with people
Sure.
in our team. So I don't know
Sure.
how long you wanted to go here. So just kind of, I can keep going and dig into some of the accounting tools if you want me to, or we can kind of take it here. But that's typically in terms of the workflow, what it
Right.
looks like in Service Fusion.
I think we might be better off if we can dive in a little deeper and actually show the adjustability as far as creating the automated email templates, because one of the changes that we actually made from when we first implemented the system to about, fast forward 6 or 7 months later, was we actually, one of our core values is being professional. One of the things that we did was we had headshots taken of all of our technicians, and we uploaded that photograph into the system. And now the morning of email that gets sent out to the point of contact, not only does it give you all of the information about, hey, this is your last reminder, we're showing up at such and such time, at such and such location, all of those details are automatically merged into the email. So no one's retyping that email.
Right.
And on top of that, the nice photograph that we had taken of the technician is also sent in the email. So the feedback that my install techs have been giving us since then is great, because they'll walk up to a job site and be like, oh, hey, the GPS guy's here. Meanwhile, they've never been there before. They've never met these people, and they just know who he is because it was a photo of this guy taken a few months ago, and there he is. Yeah, your place, ready to do some work.
Yeah, that's a great call. We've seen that as a very powerful tool for our contractors, and it's so
Mhm.
simple to set up. You know, you'd think there'd be a lot of work that goes into it, but no. I mean, each employee is going to have a profile in the system where you'll be able to
Yeah.
control their access levels. But really, it's as simple as just attaching a picture here, and then you can even put a bio. Hey, they've been with us
Mhm.
since this date. They've been in the industry for X amount of years, if you want to. Now, what's great about that is each one of these tags and each one of these sections in the system is tagged. So when you go and you create your emails, so let's see here. If I've got a job work order email, I can have multiple emails, and I've got my customer confirmation template up here. So it looks like somebody's playing with that one. So I've got a work order dispatch template. So you'll be able to see this is pretty simple, but it says hello, either a new job has been assigned to you, etc. But right here it says job number. Now this looks like it's set up for a technician, but you could do this for a customer as well. But right
Yeah.
here where it has this job number field, these are
Mhm.
tags over here. So I'd be able to go to my job details tag, and I'd be able to go down here and I can search for employee picture. But what I can
Mhm.
also do is just type in employee, or maybe I type in bio. I forget what these tags are called. So tech bio, right? So I can
Yeah.
go in and type in my lead tech bio, drag that here, and it's going to pull the technician assigned to that job and then the bio that I had typed in for that technician. Now you can
Mhm.
do the same thing with their image, so you'd be able to attach their image. But literally, if we go in here, you've got a search function, but you can pull in whatever you want. So your logo, for example, is going to be loaded into the system. So you'll be able to
Mhm.
go in and say, hey, I want to plug my company logo in here. So you don't need to go and find it anymore and attach it to your template or put in some HTML code. It's already in the
Yeah.
system. You just pull over the tag for it. So you have
Mhm.
complete control over what those templates look like, those communications out to your customers look like. Very easy to set up. You can set up multiple different templates as well.
Mhm.
And when you go in and you create those reminders, simple drop down is going to ask you which template you want to use. And then when you go in, if you needed to manually email something to a customer from a job or an invoice, that's very simple as well. Just let me open this job up. It's actually going to give you the option to see what that, select which template you wanted to use. So if I go to email this work
Yeah.
order, I can go in and say, hey, I want to use my customer confirmation template. This is what it looks like. But if we, let's say we used our work order dispatch, you can edit it or make changes or personalize it before you send it out if you needed to. So if you wanted to give specific details on that job, but you also wanted to make sure all of this information was here, you can change it for this one occurrence, for this one email, shoot it over, and your template remains the same.
Yeah, it's super powerful. And what we wound up actually doing is we have three coordinators in our team that do scheduling and dispatching all day long. So each of them has their own group of templates, and when they I'll call it sell the job or book the job, they use their template, and the template comes out goes out to the customer, customized for it comes from Chris at Top Class Installations. In
Yeah.
there, we went to Fiverr.com and had some custom email signatures built, right? And their HTML code. We take that code, we dropped it into the bottom of the email template. So now when this email gets kicked out, there's the fancy Top Class template with his photograph, a logo, all of our social media links built into there. I mean, it's really slick. It's a nice job.
Yeah.
You guys did a really
Yeah.
nice job with
Awesome.
this.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, we do a lot of updates in our system, and that's something that we've actually improved the communication templates over the last year or so as well. So we've really been working on increasing communication to customers, because the more you can keep in touch with them, the better. To your point, missed appointments are big, but also for the expectation. I mean, how much more likely are you to get a positive review or referral if somebody knows who's coming out to their house or their business to perform this work? So I think
Correct.
it's huge.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very cool.
Um, from your experience, anything else that you wanted me to touch on and dig into a little deeper for these guys?
Um, what else? What else? What else? I'm trying to think here. There's a lot of customization as far as the templates you can build out for the work orders. For instance, we're a subcontractor for the most part, and we do a lot of work from multiple different companies within the industry. So we've set up those templates based on each of those companies. So we'll have a XYZ GPS company. This is the template that's automated, and what we're able to do in the technician notes, we're able to enter all of the details for that customer as far as verifying units. So the way that this usually works in this industry, if you don't have a access to a mobile app where they give you to log in and you can check the device yourself, you have to call the tech line of the GPS company and say, hey, I'm working at this customer's location. Here's the unit number. Here's the vehicle information. Please verify that it's working. and we give the technician detailed information on exactly what to do, who to call, what to say in the notes, depending on what is selected at the time of scheduling by the installation coordinators.
Okay, I got you. So in terms of like the job, so you've got you've got a couple ways you could do that. So one thing you can do, sounds like you're using job templates to do that. So when you create job templates, again, that's where you could automate like a task list or things like that. So when you go in to say, hey, I need a new template, very simple. It looks just like creating a job, but it's going to give you the ability to pull this job up, so-called version of this job every time. So if you put in the job description or the notes, things of that nature, any of that information, when you go to create the job, whoever's creating that work order and assigning it, instead of entering that information manually, to your point, they would just select that company's template from here.
Right.
Now, another way you could do that is we've really beefed up what job categories can do. So when you go in and you edit your job categories, you'll be able to set some defaults for different categories. So you could go in and say, hey, I want to add a job category for a particular customer, parent category that's just really for organization purposes. But if you check this or turn on this automatically preload default categories, you can have a certain priority. You can have default notes for technicians, default job description. And then this is where you could select, well, I only need these custom fields for this particular job category. So you could call this job category for XYZ company. So there's really a couple ways to do that depending on what you're looking for. You're looking for a specific task list. You're looking for a specific note section. Do you want custom fields that are created? And then let's say you've got a situation where you're going out to do some kind of warranty call, and maybe the customer has a PO or some kind of RMA that needs to be attached. You could even create a category called warranty call. And when you set your custom fields, you could say, hey, this RMA that's provided by the manufacturer, this has to be entered in before the job can even be created. So if there's any system critical information that your dispatchers or your admins have to collect before it's dispatched, you can force them to do that through custom fields as well.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I know we talked a little bit about touching on pricing, and we talked about pricing. So I really just very briefly, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but just to give everybody an overview of what we do and how our plans compare. Again, our pricing, it's unlimited user, no setup fees, no contracts. We've got 3 different plans. The only difference in these plans are a handful of features. So there are links. You can access this at servicefusion.com pricing, and we can probably put it in the notes so people can see that. Sure. But basically what you're looking at here, this is going to give you a breakdown of the features at a high level, not to spend too much time on it. Most of our customers are in their Starter Plus plan, and for what we covered today, that Starter Plus plan covers all of that. So there's nothing that we talked about today that's not included in that Starter Plus package. The Pro package is going to give you some options in terms of being able to make outbound calls out of the system, the admin system, some options for online booking, things of that nature. But everything we talked about today is included in that Starter Plus package. So for anybody listening to this call, everything we talked about, no matter if you have 1 user or 25 users, can be done for $199 a month. And as a member of your Facebook group, automatically anybody that comes over as a referral through the Facebook group is going to get a 10% discount as well.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And just so everyone knows, we actually are on the Starter Plus package, which is the $199 a month. And it's been more than we need. I honestly, not trying to downsell you guys, but I don't think you need the $349 a month package unless you're trying to, integrate other softwares and kind of, kill 2 birds with 1 stone as far as the integrated dialing and stuff.
Yeah, the big thing there really is the customer web portal and the customer-facing mobile application. And from my understanding of your business, a lot of your business is coming from being subcontracted out, right? Your customers aren't reaching out to you directly a lot of times, or at least the end customer, the end user, right?
Correct.
So that becomes the question of, hey, can you retrain the companies that are sending you work to use this web portal? And the answer almost 100% of the time is no. You cannot. They're going to give you the work however they want to give you the work. So it really doesn't make a lot of sense, I think, in terms of what you guys do. Maybe this would work great for Joe, the HVAC guy that's selling, 10 service contracts a day and wants these guys to reach out to him. But then really it's a marketing tool. It's about getting real estate on that phone. And when they have an issue, they see your app there, you've got the real estate, and they're going to reach out to you. So I agree with you. I think, this industry Starter Plus package is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Anything else you want to touch on, sir? I think we covered a lot today.
Yeah, I think that's it for now. You don't want to overwhelm people, but basically, yeah, I'm part of the Facebook group. If anybody's got any questions directly for me, feel free to message me on Facebook. You can reach out to me, Jeremy@servicefusion.com. I'm sure we'll put a link in there for people to request a demo. Make sure they can get that discount in the show notes here. So how that works, guys, just so you know, if you request a demo, we're going to have somebody reach out to you, and they're going to schedule one of these demos for you one-on-one to get into your questions more specific to that, more detailed. If you want to, we went through a lot today. It's very simple. You're excited to get started too. They'll let you know how to get started. It's a very simple process in terms of getting started with Service Fusion, but we'll go through this on an individual level if you need us to, answer whatever questions you want. And it's really, we don't do anything that requires any kind of commitment. So if you just want a couple videos, a link to a pricing page, we're going to help you however you want.
That's awesome. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming in today and taking care of this. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this call, if I didn't believe in the product and you guys as a company as a whole, I wouldn't have you in here.
Yeah.
The software solution that you guys have built and that you service daily has definitely helped improve my business over the past 12 months. And one of my core values is to go out there and help other people improve their businesses. And this is just one of the ways that I can do it. So I hope that people take you guys up on this offer. I hope you guys get some phone calls. I hope you guys implement something. Even if you don't go with Service Fusion, do yourself a favor and get something in place. Otherwise, shit's just going to fall through the cracks. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and again, we're not perfect for everybody. I think a member of the group requested some info earlier this week, and I think they've got like 60, 70 plus vehicles out there, and we're probably not the best fit for that company. And I think that's what we told them on the first phone call. So, it's not a hassle situation. I went back and looked at the notes, and one of our other reps, Josh, talked to him, and I think it was about a 5-minute phone call. He said, yeah, I've got X amount. I think it was somewhere, north of 60. And Josh told him, he said, probably not a great fit, but we can show you some information. It was about that. I mean, it's really about finding the software that's going to work for you, and it doesn't do us any good because you've seen we don't do contracts or setup fees. We're not asking you for a ton of money up front. It doesn't do us any good if you start using our software for a week and you quit. We haven't made any money. Our goal really is to keep you on board and make sure you're a good fit before you get started.
Yep. Awesome. Very cool, sir.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys having me. Anytime you've got any questions for me, let me know. I'm definitely here for you.
All right. You have a great day.
Hey, you too, Thomas.
Bye-bye.